Hi everyone, how you doing? Um, Today I want to ask you a question. I doubt many people will comment on here. I don't get a whole lot of comments, and the ones I do get mostly aren't readable. But yeah, I'm old-fashioned. But I want to ask Americans, young adults, teenagers, and grown-ups, which ideology owns you? Americans like to think they can't be owned. Our government will tell you differently, especially the Democratic Party. They will tell you, no, we own you so we can do whatever we want with your money. We can do whatever we want with teaching your children things maybe you don't want them taught because you don't believe in it. I believe in expanding the child's minds and broadening the horizons, so to speak. But there is ideology out there that is harmful. And once they do enough damage, we label them cults. And the cults, when they're woven into the government because they have got enough big money backing them, this is who owns you. So who owns you? Does your country own you? Does your boss own you? Do corporations own you? And to keep you owned, they're not worried about you once you're an adult. They want your kids because they've got to come up with an ideology that will hit enough of the families that are overburdened and can't raise their children and bring money in. And today, someone earning $60,000 doesn't make enough to pay bills for a family. Now, $60,000 a year for just me and my husband would be excellent. Excellent. Well, actually, it wouldn't. Not in today's money, but 10 years ago. Whoa, yeah, it would have been much better. Now, I'm an old boomer. Everybody knows it. I don't hide that I'm an old woman. And if I could fix my teeth, afford to, I most definitely would. So, hey, if you want to make a donation so I can try to fix my teeth, get some medical care, I got my Cash App link. Go for it. So far, I've had it for 8 years. Haven't had any issues with it. So I trust it. I might even have a PayPal link on there, but I have been hacked on PayPal before, so it's not an easy subject to talk about. Because if you ask an American today, just walk up to anybody and say, who owns you? They're going to say, nobody owns me. That's all up here. That's not reality. Reality check hit me about age 25, 26. Yeah, I'm almost 60, so long time ago, many moons ago, this old lady got a wake-up call. I had children. I had 2 stepchildren and 2 biological children. And I couldn't afford to support them because the only skills I had were waitressing. Customer service I could do, but those jobs were always temporary because the stress of doing those jobs, after a while, it'll just eat up your health. And it was working on mine pretty good. Now I have no stability. I can't hold a job because my heart doesn't run by their shifts, and it doesn't adhere to their timeline. So I can get jobs, I just can't keep them. And so when you're working all the time, they talk about the price gouging that took place on the West Coast during the gold rush we are experiencing today through taxation. Everything in Texas has been driven up and driven up and driven up. You can't do anything without paying taxes on your money, on your money, on your money, no matter how you use it. That used to be illegal. And I understand the government has to have money, tax money, to fund a lot of the operations that they fund. But they have taken it so overboard, and they're not funding healthy programs for their citizens. I don't know why any immigrant, illegal immigrant, let me put it that way, would want to come here. Do they not see what happens to the American people for real? Do they not have YouTube? Do they not have TikTok? So they can't see what's going on, what people are actually saying life is like in our country if you're a citizen? Now, I understand when you're fleeing one country, it's to flee that ownership because, well, that landlord's a bad landlord. Well, if you're coming to America, you may find that you have a worse landlord because you could be considered property. And you are considered property, especially by both parties. I'm not going to say one is better than the other, except right now, the Republican Party is offering more to the citizens than the Democrat policies. And Democratic policies are now insane. There's no logic, there's no reason, there's no rationale to what they're choosing to endorse. So it's kind of like finding the best landlord, being an American citizen. Your president is your main landlord. Under him, you have governors, senators, congressmen, and, the rest, mayors, all that garbage. And they look for something you're angry for or about in your country, and they feed and fester that so that it becomes this big open wound. And right now, that's what Democrats are doing to their own American people. Democrats are causing communities to go bankrupt. They have caused community collapse. And the religious people are trying, with all their zealous hearts, to correct this path that the Democrats have taken the American people down. But they can't do it because too many people are angry with religions, because they spout a lot of Jesus while they're passing around that plate, while the pastor is eating steak and potatoes and the congregation is going to food banks to get fed. And this is not just, and Jesus even said so. So if you want to spout your religion, about Jesus especially, because I do believe he existed. I believe there were a lot of men like Jesus as well before Jesus, and even during Jesus' time. Only they didn't have, I guess you call it the Holy Ghost, an awakened spirit that is connected with the soul. And that connection is a real thing. So don't think I'm putting down your connection to God because I don't subscribe to a religion. Your connection to God is everywhere within you, and it doesn't require one dime. It just requires a connection. where you are connected with yourself. And governments don't want that because they think that encourages too much free thinking that's logical. Logical. I want you to think about some of the wisest people. Nostradamus was, they put both back, bad and good, but that's a human life. So they talk about how his prophecies. Well, you know, when you live in a time of oppression, poverty, and government abuse, leader abuse, you have a different look on the world. And the American Democrats are playing on this demographic of people that feel overwhelmed by taxation, feel they don't have a voice anymore. They don't feel like they're connected to their own country anymore. They don't cherish the same ideals and aspirations because they're overwhelmed with trying to support it. Okay? And then being pushed to the wayside when your earning power is getting to that age group where you're going to earn less. You're just going to try to live off of what you've saved if you were a good enough employee or uh, could find the right jobs. Now, guys, I watch a lot of Charlie Cook and other kinds of platforms similar to his because there's a lot of logic in it. I'm sorry, there is. You don't have to. I don't think that capitalism is the best. You know, I do agree. Boycott if you think that things are not right. But when you're boycotting for higher wages, you're also boycotting to get a higher cost of living for yourself and everyone. So you have to be really realistic in this fight to survive. Now, immigrants did build this country, but we tore it down first. And that's my next episode.